Every thought you allow in, you are responsible for. Not because you created it, but because you hosted it. You didn't speak the words. You didn't choose the tone, but you thought about it again and again until it became yours. Most people don't think. They absorb, they repeat, they loop, and they call that identity. But here's the cold truth. If you don't choose the thoughts inside your mind, someone else already has. A parent, a teacher, a partner, a stranger on the internet. And now, your fears, your self-doubt, your hesitation, they're not born of truth. They're inherited, unfiltered, unquestioned. You're not broken. You're just running mental software you never installed. And every day you keep thinking the same thing. You keep signing the contract that says, I accept this as me. But it's not you. It never was. This video isn't about thinking positively. It's not about affirmation. It's about sovereignty. The brutal, clean act of taking back control over the one space that should have always been yours. Your mind. This isn't about resisting every thought. It's about auditing everyone that enters and asking, do you belong here? Because if you don't guard that door, they'll flood in. And one day, you'll look in the mirror and realize you became the sum total of thoughts you never truly believed. Let's start. Let's build the mental borders you should have had all along. You didn't choose the first voice that said, you're not good enough. It just appeared at 7 years old, or 12, or maybe last week, wrapped in sarcasm or silence, or a smile that didn't reach their eyes. And you didn't fight it, because it didn't feel like a threat. It felt like a fact. So you let it stay. That's the trap. Most mental invasions don't kick the door in. They knock softly, or sneak in when you're tired, when you're vulnerable, when you're not paying attention. And once inside, they don't shout. They whisper. They echo. They loop until their presence feels native. You hear them when you hesitate, when you doubt yourself mid-sentence, when you scroll past something beautiful and think, that's not for me. You think it's your voice, but it's not. It's something you absorbed, something someone said once, and you didn't filter it. You just kept it. That's how mental trespassing becomes identity. We've been taught to protect our bodies, our homes, or passwords, but no one taught us how to protect the one place that governs everything else. Your thoughts aren't sacred just because they're private. Some of them are invaders, unwanted, unexamined, unwelcome. But you let them sleep inside your mind, like guests you're too polite to evict. And the longer they stay, the more they rearrange the furniture. Until one day, you forget how the room looked before they moved in. It's time to remember. It's time to audit. It's time to reclaim. Let's go deeper into why you keep thinking things you never chose to believe, and how to finally stop. You don't remember agreeing to these thoughts because you never did. They didn't ask for permission. They were embedded through repetition, emotion, silence. A teacher said it once. You heard it twice. Then it became a loop. And your brain, not built to filter truth, but to conserve energy, filed it under, accepted, repeat when insecure. That's how it happens. Not by logic, but by familiarity. We don't believe what's true. We believe what we hear the most, especially when we're vulnerable. That's why you still flinch when you speak up in a group, why you still downplay your ideas, why you still hesitate in rooms you've already earned the right to enter. It's not doubt. It's installed code, mental habits, inherited phrases, emotional defaults, all stacked quietly until they form a system you never built, but still run every day. This is the unconscious hosting program. You didn't choose these thoughts. You just never questioned them, and now they've built a home in a mind that was supposed to be sovereign. And every time you entertain them, feed them, repeat them, you reinforce the code. You become the host, and they become the architect. But it doesn't have to stay that way. You can begin to question, to filter, to interrupt the loops with one brutal question. Did I choose this, or did someone else choose it for me? Because when you reclaim authorship, you don't just edit thoughts, you reset the blueprint. Let's now explore what happens when those thoughts go unchecked and the emotional cost of housing what doesn't serve you. We're stepping into psychological pollution and the unseen weight you carry just because you never changed the locks. You wouldn't drink dirty water. You wouldn't breathe toxic air, but you'll entertain a toxic thought for hours, days, years, and then wonder why your confidence feels sick, why your motivation breaks down, why your sense of self feels foggy, uncertain, reactive. This is thought pollution, not loud, not violent, but cumulative. The offhand remark from someone you respected, the sarcastic jab you brushed off, the internalized failure you never challenged. They hang in the mental air like smog, invisible but heavy. 1 self-doubt, it whispers. 10 self-doubts, they cloud your ability to act, to trust yourself, to see clearly. And most people don't even notice it, because polluted thoughts often sound like your own voice. That's how deep the invasion goes. You believe you're being humble, but you're just hosting someone else's projection. You think you're being realistic, but you're just reliving someone else's fear. You've confused contamination with clarity. But here's the truth. Your mind is not a landfill. It's a temple, and the thoughts you allow in either cleanse it or corrode it. So stop letting everyone speak into your system. Start filtering words like you'd filter blood. Because if you don't, you'll carry resentment that was never yours, shame that was never earned, and hesitation that was taught, not born. Now it's time to clean house, not by resisting every thought, but by checking every one that enters. Let's move forward into the discipline of mental border control, where you decide, consciously, what stays and what never gets past the door. Most people let thoughts in like stray dogs. They don't ask where they came from, what they carry, or what they'll leave behind. And that's why their mind, once clear and sharp, now feels like a waiting room of voices they never invited. But sovereignty means something else. It means you stop hosting everything that knocks. You build a checkpoint. You screen every thought like a border officer at the gate of your consciousness. And here's how it works. Step 1, interception. The moment a thought enters, pause. Before you believe it, before you react, just ask, where did you come from? Step 2, interrogation. Is it mine? Or was it planted? Is it rooted in truth? Or in trauma? Does it serve me? Or just shame me? Step 3, decision. Keep it, transform it, or depart it. No emotion, no drama, just cold filtration. Not every thought deserves your energy. Not every opinion earns residence. Not every fear is real. And the more you practice this, the cleaner your inner space becomes. You stop looping thoughts that don't belong in your identity. You stop rehearsing insults as if they were instructions. You don't have to silence the world. You just have to decide who gets access to your mental ecosystem. This is how clarity returns, not from escaping noise, but from auditing everything that tries to enter. Now let's turn that protocol into something real, not just stopping bad thoughts, but training your mind to keep the right ones. Let's move into thought ownership, not just control, but command. Not what you absorb. Most people don't own their thoughts. They inherit them, absorb them, react to them, but rarely do they author them. And that's the shift, from being a mental receiver to becoming the selector, the strategist, the sovereign editor of your inner world. Here's the protocol. Every day, choose 3 thought anchors, not reactions, not feelings, but deliberate mental standards you install like software, a core belief you want to reinforce. I trust myself more than I trust noise. A boundary thought that stops intrusive loops. That idea doesn't belong to me. A neutralizer thought that clears emotional overreaction. That's their energy, not mine. Repeat them, write them, whisper them back to the invading noise, until your mind starts echoing your tone, not theirs. Because ownership isn't just rejection, it's replacement. You don't fight intrusive thoughts with force. You starve them with clarity. You don't need to think perfectly. You just need to stop thinking passively. A sovereign mind doesn't run on accident. It runs on intention, and intention repeated long enough becomes identity. This is not about positive thinking. It's about power alignment. You choose what thoughts get your attention, your emotion, your energy, and over time, your mind begins to listen, begins to obey, begins to reflect the operator, not the intruder. Now let's go deeper into the architecture of thought loops themselves, how to dismantle the old programming and install a system that serves who you're becoming. Your brain doesn't care what's true. It cares what's familiar. And the more a thought repeats, the more your nervous system thinks, this must be who I am. That's how identity is faked. Not through logic, but through looping. You're not ready. You always mess this up. They don't really care. Not facts. Just echoes. Echoes you never muted. So they bounced, louder and deeper, until they felt like origin. But here's the strategy. You don't fight the loop. You replace it. You identify the exact moment it starts. That spike of shame. That inner tightening. That whisper. Don't speak up. And then you do the opposite. You speak. You act. You move with the loop still playing. Not because it's gone, but because you're installing a new one. Because behavior rewires belief, not the other way around. And every time you act in defiance of the old loop, you weaken its grip. You train your mind to expect something new, to normalize a thought like, I show up whether or not I feel perfect. That loop, repeated long enough, becomes the new echo. One you chose, one you designed, one that serves your direction, not your damage. You don't need to delete the old system. You just need to overwrite it. Let's now move to the final stage of mental reconstruction. Not just breaking loops, but building a clean psychological space where every thought earns its place. We're building a mind that feels like a fortress, not a hallway for passing noise. Your mind wasn't built to be busy. It was built to be clear. But most people treat their thoughts like open tabs. Too many, too messy, too loud to follow through. They let every voice in, every headline, every comment, every silence that felt like judgment, and they call it being informed. But it's not clarity, it's chaos. Your mind is not a marketplace. It's not public space. It's sacred. And if you treat it like sacred ground, you don't just protect it, you purify it. This is psychological clean space, where your mind doesn't echo 500 people's noise. It echoes your own strategy, your own beliefs, your chosen frames. What does that look like? Fewer inputs, more internal audits, clear rejection of thought patterns that come wrapped in panic. You stop tracking every trend. You stop reacting to every tone. You stop answering every internal critic, as if it has authority. Because here's the truth. Not all thoughts deserve response. Some deserve silence. Some deserve exile. Some deserve to be ignored, until they dissolve because they were never real to begin with. When your mind is clean, you move with precision. You speak less. But when you do, people feel it. Because it's not noise, it's signal. Now, the final piece, the test, the practice, the threshold you must walk through to claim ownership fully. Let's step into it. The 72-hour challenge that separates those who think from those who choose what they think. For the next 72 hours, no thought gets to stay without your permission. No opinion enters without questioning its origin. No loop repeats without your consent. If a thought appears, ask, is this mine? Is this useful? Is this aligned with who I'm becoming? If not, reject it. Don't wrestle. Don't reason. Just return to what you've chosen. Begin each morning with one declaration. I command what enters. I own what stays. This mind is not open territory. Limit input. Increase silence. Observe every reaction before allowing it space. You'll feel the withdrawal, the itch to react, to explain, to internalize. Don't hold the space. Let the noise pass. Let the clarity rise. This is mental sovereignty, not a concept, a decision. And once you taste it, you won't trade it for validation again. Comment, I reclaim mental ownership. No elaboration, no apology. Just one signal that the gates are now closed to everything that weakens you, and open only to what you've chosen to become.